morning. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Oh. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves you and I love you too. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, from every walk of life, every creed and color, in kinship we unite, in honor of the God in each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, Namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love.
Thank you, gentlemen of the band, for bringing us together this morning. And good morning, community. I'm Tara Steele, a minister here at the center, and I'm delighted to welcome you to this service. If you're curious about what's going on here, we have a website, which is CSLSR.org. And if you click on the typewriter on the home page, a magical bulletin will open up for you, sharing absolutely every event and activity and group that's happening here. So if you miss out on something I share with you this morning, feel free to go click on the typewriter and follow up. On that homepage and here at the center, you'll notice we have a wonderful youth and family program, and it's growing. From babies through to teenagers, there's lots of energy around youth and family in this center. If you'd like to help us expand it in the coming year, please reach out to Jennifer Caldwell, the director. I don't know that she's in the audience this morning. She often is. She's on well-deserved holiday today. But reach out to her at youth@cslsr.org and let her know you might be interested in volunteering, and you definitely would like to know what's going on with the youth program and how you can support it. Spiritual education is one of the 5 core practices here at the center. And we have a huge variety of workshops and book studies and core classes and enrichment classes. If you want to know about those, they're also online, and there's a catalog out at the information desk that describes what's happening between now and the end of the year. Russ, Reverend Russ, is also available to tell you about the classes as well as scholarship opportunities. Now please join with me in speaking aloud the vision and mission. The Center for Spiritual Living is a spiritual community that promotes global transformation through personal transformation. Our purpose is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. We are motivated by a compelling global vision that inspires us of compassion, integrity, and loving kindness to the world through our programs and teaching. Together, we are helping create a world that works for everyone. And here's just one of the specifics of that vision. We see a world in which each and every person lives in alignment with their highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with God and connection with each other. A world in which individually and collectively we are called to a higher state of consciousness and action. We follow this vision through 5 core spiritual practices of our teaching. Again, would you read them with me? Spiritual study, affirmative prayer, meditation, selfless service, spiritual circulation. You're doing a great job of following along. I appreciate the resonance in the room. We would now like to extend a warm welcome to our first-time visitors. First-time visitors, please stand as you can or raise your hand so that we may bring you a flower as well as some information on our center. Please remain standing or keep your hand raised so that we can come to you. And for those of you who are watching online and are first-time visitors, please let us know in the chat. We are so grateful to have you wherever you are. I know that somewhere between the music, the meditation, prayer, practices, and Reverend Russ's message today is exactly what you need to experience for this next step on your spiritual journey. Now please enjoy some music before a brief time of silence and prayer.
Still my mind, still my mind. There's your part. Be at peace, be at peace. In my awakening, in my awakening, I release with my heart, free my soul. In my awakening, I am whole. Together we sing. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. As I love and as I give, in my awakening, I choose to live. Give me strength, shine your light Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti. Om Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti.
In remembering words of old, be still and know. And in this stillness, how comforting it is to know, and beyond even knowing, to feel the presence of the divine, that one creator of all life, and to know that it is in the house, it is in this house, it is in every room, and it is in the house of each one of us, our individualness, coming together and recognizing this is the oneness that we speak of, for the Creator imparts of itself into each and every one of its creations, breathing us, helping us to be aware of that presence that is within us, guiding us, directing us, always available. I am so pleased, and so my heart just overflows with gratitude for recognizing that the Spirit Divine is always as close as my breath, the pulse that I have, my heartbeat. And it is so for every single one of us, not some, but all of us. Recognizing that the divine is right here, right now, right always, knowing that no matter what is going on, whether the road feels bumpy, that Spirit promises safe landing always. So remembering too that God is the compass, and when we do align with that, we can never be lost. I'm so grateful for this coming together, for the divinity within each and every one of us, for that recognition as we look upon one another and see that wonderful connection. I'm grateful for the music that we hear, for the words that are spoken, the lessons given. What a wonderful, beautiful day. And knowing that this service comes together flawlessly, effortlessly, with beauty and peace and understanding. I give thanks for it all. I give thanks for these words, for this breath, for each and every one of us here. And with this feeling of gratitude, I simply release this word and invite us all to say together, and so it is. Amen. Good morning. My name is Sherry Poole. I'm one of the prayer practitioners and spiritual guides here at the center, and invite you now to join with me in reading this morning's affirmation. I am the peace I see in the world, and so it is.
We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones who will make a difference. We are the ones who will change the world. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are. I've been feeling like I can't make a difference. I'm feeling like there ain't no use. Feeling tired and a little unconscious. Coming up with every kind of excuse till I realized it's not all up to me. When we join together, we shape our destiny. To see the world where we are living as one. It can be, it shall be, it will be done. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones who will make a difference. We are the ones who will change the world. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are. No one else gonna make the changes. No savior gonna fall from the sky. Nothing left to do but wake up. 'Cause it's really up to you and I to take it one step at a time. Stand together with your hand in mine. Then we will see the world that we've been dreaming about. We need it now, the time is now, there is no doubt. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones who will make a difference. Yeah, we are the ones who will change the world. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are. Yeah, I am the one who I've been waiting for. I am the one who will make a difference. We are the ones who will change the world. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are. Yeah, we are the ones, we are the ones, we are. We are the ones, we are the ones.
Good morning. Can we give some more love to Chris and Brett and Fran and Nick? We are the ones. And welcome, live streamers. It's good to see you too. So we are at the last Sunday of our month of peace. And I'm really glad that they picked the month with 5 Sundays to talk about peace, because I feel like we need 5 Sundays. So today is our last message about peace. And the theme of the month has been pieces into peace, how we go from seeming pieces into an experience of peace. And so as a review, here are some of the main ideas that we've been exploring. And the first is that peace is not something that we have to get outside of us. It's already within us. It's what we experience when we're able to feel one with the divine. And through that feeling of being one with the divine, we can feel one with one another, because we're all part of that same singular divine mind. So that feeling of oneness that we tap into helps us to heal any experience that we have of suffering. That's idea number 1. Idea number 2 is that we have the ability to move beyond this idea that we are separate from one another, that we're disconnected from one another, simply because we appear to be a little different. That idea is an illusion. And even though we might not always realize it, we are always connected to one another because we are always connected to that infinite one, to the divine, to that one mind. And so what that means is that our differences don't have to create separation. In fact, our differences can be what brings us together. Third idea. By using the power of our mind, by using the power of our imagination, we can imagine what a truly peaceful world looks like. And when we do that, we then create a common vision, a common goal that we can all aspire toward. It's that goal that inspires us, that gives us the energy and the hope that we need to continue forward when life inevitably gets hard. Now, today's topic is called Putting the Pieces Together. That's P-E-A-C-E-S. Yes, we were being clever with the words. And today we're going to do just that. We are going to put those pieces together. We're going to take all these concepts and we are going to build a map that we can follow to help us to bring more peace into our lives and into the world. And to do that, today we're going to talk about actor Kevin Bacon. Not quite yet, though. First, we have to begin where we're at. We have to begin with ourselves. Now, I've found that finding a sense of inner peace is the first step that I have to take in order for me to be able to start seeing peace in the world. If I'm not feeling peaceful, it's really hard for me to recognize it around me. And there was a time in my life when I wasn't able to feel very much inner peace. And because of many challenges that I encountered through my childhood, I found it really hard to trust people. I would have my defenses up all the time. I didn't let people in. And so the few people that I did let into my world, they'd only be let in to a certain point. And once they reached that point, that was it. There wasn't any more that I was willing to open up to them. So that felt very isolating. It was challenging. I felt disconnected. And because of that disconnection, I couldn't feel any peace. Vulnerability researcher and author Brené Brown says that vulnerability is the birthplace of connection and the path to the feeling of worthiness. And it turns out that that was the key that I was missing for most of my life. I was afraid to be vulnerable in my relationships. I was afraid to prioritize connecting and creating deeper relationships. Instead, I just wanted to play it safe. I was afraid that I was going to get judged or that someone would find out about all my broken parts and then they wouldn't love me anymore. Now, the good news is that I don't feel that way anymore. And what shifted was, well, for one, I got tired of being defensive all the time. Because let me tell you, it is a lot of work for not very much pay. And I got tired of feeling isolated and alone. I got tired of feeling disconnected. And so I started to make some changes in my life, and I took a chance. I started to open up just a little bit more to people who I felt like I could risk trusting and share that, yeah, I've got parts of me that feel like they're broken and I don't know what to do with them. And even though it was really frightening, you know, sometimes it feels like being that vulnerable, it feels like more frightening than getting a root canal without any Novocaine. And I remember, I was pretty awkward about this when I started doing this, and the very first time I got to know one of my ministerial mentors, Reverend C.C. Coltrane, who some of you may have met back in July during my ordination ceremony. And I love Reverend C.C. The first time that I met her, she was the dean of my regional school back when I had first begun my ministerial studies. And before all of us new students went into even our very first class with her, she said we all had to get on a Zoom with her because she had important things to tell us. And so I got on the Zoom and with all my other fellow students. And here's this brand new woman who I'd never met before, who was a bit gruff and very matter of fact. And boy, I was feeling a little intimidated in that moment. And I remember distinctly she told us that us ministers, we better take really good care of ourselves, because if we're not taking care of ourselves, we have no business taking care of a community. And she said it as though it was an incontrovertible spiritual law. And she was right. And so even though I was intimidated in that moment, I stuck with it because I knew that, okay, here's somebody who means business. So over time, I got to know Reverend Cece a little bit more, and she got to know me, and we, turns out, became fast friends. And she freely accepted me into her own community when I was having a hard time in my own. And she believed in me when I often had a hard time believing in myself. What's even better, she gave me room to experiment and to fail as a minister. And she never once judged me for some of the really wacky things that I did. So it took me a little while to build up my trust muscle, but I did. And I'm really glad for that because I feel like I'm a better person for it. I feel like Reverend Cece helped me in her way to find my own sense of peace. And that brings me to a very important point because you see, Reverend Cece is a person who has what I consider to be a center of gravity that is rooted in peace. Now, what does center of gravity mean? Well, it means that for her, I've noticed that no matter what kind of challenge is going on in the world, her center of gravity always returns her to peace. Every single time. In fact, she's drawn to peace. And because she is drawn to peace, she draws others to peace. Now, is Reverend Cece peaceful all the time? Well, I know she's not. She's my friend. Frankly, I don't know anybody who is. But I've always witnessed her return back to peace, even during the tough times. Now, because her center of gravity is peace, that means that she makes it safe for others to try out being peaceful with her. She makes it safe to be vulnerable. She doesn't put up her defenses, and that gives those around her a reason to not have to put up their defenses. In fact, because that peace and open-heartedness was so apparent in my time with her as my teacher, she inspired me to lower my own defenses. And once I was able to do that, I was able to build this lasting connection with her that's still with us today. So, Reverend Cece walks through the world with an open heart that's filled with the kind of peace that invites others to join her. I'm quite fond of the Jesus stories in the Bible, and one of the really cool things about Jesus that I've noticed is that he never defends himself. Not once. I don't remember him ever defending himself. His faith in his eternal nature, that the divine is living its life as and through him, his faith in his inherent peace and worthiness, and his love for all people were so strong that I think for him, the very idea of putting up any defenses never even crossed his mind. I think that's because perhaps he believed that putting up those defenses would separate him from those around him. And by separating from those around him would separate him from God, from this one mind. Now, his story is aspirational, just like that John Lennon song, Imagine, that we talked about last week. Jesus' story shares with us something that we can work toward one step at a time. Now, I don't know anybody who can live a truly defensive life in this world right now. In fact, I want to be clear that if you're in a situation where you might have physical aggression against you, it is okay for you to defend yourself in that moment. But that doesn't mean that we can't work toward a deeper peace one step at a time. We can't work towards being more defenseless one step at a time. The Jesus story is a reminder that there is a great gift that comes when we can become more vulnerable with each other. Through that vulnerability, we are able to connect on a deeper level. And through that deeper connection, we are able to realize a deeper peace than we're able to realize all by ourselves. So I've found that positive connection is what heals separation. Because when we connect through peace, when we connect through love, when we connect through open-heartedness, by being vulnerable, that's when we strengthen the peace within every single link in the vast web of connections that is this thing called humanity. And while that peace has to begin within us, and it can begin within us. It can begin through our spiritual practice. It can begin through affirmative prayer, through meditation, through all of the spiritual practices that we shared in our opening this morning. Once we are able to open that door to peace just a little bit by having more faith, having faith that even though we might take a chance, we might get hurt, it is nevertheless safe for us to open our hearts. And when we do that, that's when we truly open to forming the kind of connections that I know can spread peace throughout the world. Ooh, that's what gets me so excited, the idea of all of us being open-hearted and sharing that peace. In fact, I believe that this open-heartedness is one of the main things that we get from all the spiritual practices here at the center. They all do it a little bit in a different way, but all of them eventually lead us to being more open-hearted, to feeling more safe in the divine, to trusting that there is this one mind that is larger than we are, that we have the same power that it does. We have the same love within us that it does. And so this open-heartedness, this willingness to hold no one outside of our hearts, well, it turns out that that's the very foundation of so many nonviolent resistance movements. From the work that Mohandas Gandhi did to help to free India from British rule, to the work of Archbishop Desmond Tutu and Nelson Mandela in ending apartheid, to the leadership of Dr. Martin Luther King and so many others in the American Civil Rights Movement. What I've noticed is that all these efforts recognize that the bigger problem isn't necessarily that one group holds power over another. That certainly is a problem, but it's not the root of the problem. It's only a symptom of a bigger issue. Instead, they seem to recognize that the reason that one group tries to hold power over another is because they believe that that other group is less than human. They see a difference, and then they believe in separation. So the answer to that isn't constantly shifting power from one group to another though there always has to be a winner or a loser. But rather, the solution is healing that belief in separation. Because once that's healed, then everybody can win. Buddhist Pema Chodron reminds us in her book, When Things Fall Apart, that every day we could think about aggression in the world and ask ourselves, am I going to add to that aggression? When things get edgy, we can ask ourselves, am I going to practice peace or am I going to war? The healing of the illusion of separation can begin with just one person. Just like Reverend Cece helped me to bit by bit heal my own belief in separation. And as each of us is healed, we begin this beautiful process that builds and builds and builds until we reach a tipping point, a moment when the weight of our peace is greater than the weight of our belief in separation. Now, the good news is that that tipping point is much closer to you than you might think. And that's when Kevin Bacon comes in. Now, some of you may be familiar with the phrase 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon. And this is a fun game that you can play to find out that on average, it takes a maximum of 6 actors before you will find a connection to actor Kevin Bacon. In fact, there's even a website that will do it for you. Now, this idea is actually rooted in research. It comes from ongoing research on the hypothesis that there are only 6 degrees of separation between one person and any other person in the world. 6 people. In fact, now that we have social media, there's some research that's showing that the average number of connections on Facebook and Twitter, for example, is actually a little bit smaller. It's between 4 and 5 people. So think about that. This means that you know someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone that could live in Morocco, or Colombia, or Bhutan, or Tibet, or Russia, or China, or Japan, or Germany, or even my favorite country, New Zealand. In fact, perhaps you're only 6 degrees from Kevin Bacon. Ernest Holmes shares with us in one of his unpublished works, World Peace is Not an Illusion, that we must practice the presence of peace consciously, definitely, and deliberately. If we can do it individually and in the family, and to a certain degree in our offices and businesses, which we can, why can't we do it for the whole world? We can. So if you can live a life of peace, and with that peace connect to just one other person in a way that inspires them to live in peace, and then they connect to another and share that inspiration, and then another, eventually a chain reaction begins. Eventually, enough of us will live from that peace in a way where we reach that tipping point. And there's some research that shows that really it only needs to be 20% of the population. And then, once that tipping point is hit, we've gained enough momentum for that peace to be self-sustaining. Challenges might come up, as challenges inevitably do, and that can sometimes slow down the momentum, and I feel like we're experiencing some of those challenges in our country and in the world right now. But once that momentum starts, there is no challenge that can ever stop this chain reaction of peace. As long as enough of us hold peace in our hearts, making peace our center of gravity, recognizing that we are one regardless of what's going on in the world, regardless of how different others seem to be, peace will eventually prevail. It's only a matter of time. So when I put all of these pieces together, both pieces, P-I-C-E-S, and pieces, P-E-A-C-E-S, try saying that fast 3 times, well, I see a map that can guide us towards peace. And here's what this map looks like to me. First, this map tells me that I have to find that peace within me. Now, this isn't like a light switch that's either on or off, but rather more like a spectrum of shades of peace, where I can unlock different degrees of peace through my own spiritual practices that remind me that I am one, that I am never alone. The good news is that that peace is already there. I don't have to get it outside of me. It's already within me. I just have to do the work that I can so that I can see it, that I can feel it, I can embody it. For me, meditation and prayer do this. Coming to the center and being with all of you does this. Reading inspiring books from authors like Pema Chodron and teachers who share their perspective on peace, that does it. And when the times are tough and I'm not feeling particularly peaceful, when I'm feeling kind of grumpy and like I don't want to people anymore, well, that's when I know I have to go to someone and have them share their peace with me. Share it through their prayer, share it through their ability to listen to me. Because I have to go to somebody who I know their peace is brighter than mine is. Sometimes when I'm feeling that way, I take a new class, like Dr. Edwards' upcoming class, Living the Serenity Prayer, a class that's designed to help me to find my way back to peace. And the goal in all of this is to shift my center of gravity so that no matter what's going on around me, I can always find my way back to peace. Because once I have my own inner tipping point of peace, and remember, it doesn't mean that I have to be peaceful all the time. It's probably not possible as human beings. Well, then I can bring that peace that I have into the world through my vulnerability, through my defenselessness, through being open-hearted. I can lower my defenses in a way that lets people see me and see that I'm safe because I'm holding peace in my heart. I can seek to connect to others through my own inner sense of peace, making it safe for them to hold peace in their hearts, and then for them to become more open-hearted. Now, this second step, it takes courage. But the good news is that the amount of courage is far less than you might think. Because I've noticed that each time that I'm able to make a connection through that peace-inspired vulnerability, well, the next time gets easier. I find myself worrying just a little bit less about what somebody might think about me, whether they're judging me, and instead I become curious. I become curious about the other person. I become curious about the kind of connection that we might make together. So once I get my sea legs practicing vulnerability, that's when I can go bigger. I can join a group that explores ways of connecting through authenticity, through vulnerability, through peace. We have groups like that here at the center. We have our Circles for Spiritual Connection, and they're starting a new term in November. And if you want more information on that, they're going to be doing 2 Zoom calls on this upcoming Wednesday and the Wednesday after, where they'll tell you all about it. And if you'd like to get on the list to get that Zoom link, you can sign up on our website. There's a Circles for Spiritual Connection information link that if you fill it out, you'll get a link to both of those Zoom calls. So that's a really great way to find a bigger way of experiencing peace. I found that finding a group of people that are all actively living lives of peace, and from that peaceful center of gravity, living those lives together, it can be so inspiring. It's one of the main reasons that I love coming to this community. It's one of the main reasons that I love being here with you, because I get inspired by all of you. You know what? You all share the love so freely with one another that, it just fills my heart with love. My grumpy heart that likes to be defensive sometimes. And I get especially inspired by all the ways that we take care of each other when the times get rough here. That's what it means to have a center of gravity that's rooted in peace. When we come together in community from this place of peace, we have this huge opportunity to imagine an even bigger peace, and we get to imagine it together. That imagination, that vision of a peaceful world, it can spiral and it can grow 1 degree, one person at a time, until eventually it has saturated our entire world. That's the map. Inner peace through spiritual practice and seeking support from those who we know are beacons of peace. Connection to others through vulnerability and growing our open-heartedness and sharing that open-heartedness that we've cultivated, that peace that we've cultivated on a grand scale. And then making it safe for others to be vulnerable too, making it safe for others to be open-hearted through our own open-heartedness. So, in closing, remember, just like all of us are connected in some way to Kevin Bacon, so too do we find that when we put all of these pieces together, each of us is connected to someone who is living a life of peace. In fact, you might just be that someone. You might just be the Kevin Bacon of peace. Let's take that into prayer, shall we? How good it is to know that there is one life, there is one presence, there is one universal peace that is the very foundation of all of life, all of reality, seen and unseen. That peace is here now. It is here within me. It is here within each and every one of us. We are one with that divine mind, and thus we are one with that infinite peace. And so I know that because we are one, that peace is here within us. It is unstoppable. So I invite that peace forth. I invite it forth through open-heartedness. I invite that peace forth through community, through a common goal of sharing just a little bit more peace in the world every single day. I know that that peace is at hand because I see it, I witness it here within each of us. And what a sight that is to behold. And so I am grateful to know that that peace is here as us and through us, and that in the days and weeks to come, it can only grow, it can only spread, it can only become more of itself. I am grateful. And so with this gratitude, I release my word into that divine law of mind that always says, yes, my beloveds, yes. And I invite us all to seal this word together by saying, and so it is. So I invite you to take a nice deep breath, breathing in, let out a big sigh. So we use our breath to help us to transition to our practice of spiritual circulation here at our center. And first, I want to say how grateful I am for all of the ways that everyone here gives. And that's not just financially. We have so many people who give of their time, who give of their talents. We have so many people who they just love the ever-living dickens out of the center. And that is powerful. So I'm grateful for all of that. And if you choose to give financially, we're very grateful for that too, because that helps to support this community and help all of the wonderful things that go on throughout the week happen here. So if you do choose to support us financially, we have a website. You can go to cslsr.org/donate if you'd like to donate online. We also have text to give, and you can send whatever dollar amount you'd like to share to that phone number there, and it will set you up the first time, and then each subsequent time you can just put in whatever number you want, and it will automatically do it for you. We will pass the baskets today as well. In fact, I invite our ushers to stand and to hold the space as we go into our offering ritual. So if it feels comfortable, go ahead and close your eyes and allow your gaze to soften and tune into that peace that lives within you. And let that peace grow, let it expand, let it infuse all of the gifts that you share with this community and beyond. And I invite you to repeat after me. I bless my gifts. I send them forth to heal and prosper. They do amazing work in the world. And so it is. Ushers, please receive the gift.
Beyond these walls, there's a whole world that's spinning, they say. It's all about losing and winning, but I know that's a lie. And this is just the beginning, and the future is in my hands. We're building a place where everyone can belong, woven together like the notes of a song. I open up my mind, I open up my heart, and I run my race, and I play my part. Building a place where everyone can belong. Beyond these names, beyond all these colors, we're one family. We are sisters and brothers, and all I want to do is bring the best out in others, 'cause together the world is ours. We're building a place where everyone can belong, woven together like the notes of a song. I open up my mind, I open up my heart, and I run my race, and I play my part. Building a place where everyone can belong. Building a place where everyone can belong, woven together like the notes of a song. I open up my mind, I open up my heart, and I run my race, and I play my part. Building a place where everyone can belong. I said we're building a place where everyone, building a place where everyone, building a place where everyone can belong.
Thank you so much for all the gifts that you share with this community. We are truly blessed by all that you give. Now, I'd like to invite my friend, Reverend Tara, up to tell us about all the wonderful things that are happening at our center.
Hello again. I want to start with something that is perhaps one of the most important workshops we've ever offered at the center. It's one that Edward is doing. It's a free workshop next Sunday. Those of you who have heard me talk know how important it is to know what matters to you and then bring those values out into the world. This workshop defines ways that whatever those core values are, whether you're blue or red or purple or white or whatever, you first, before you vote, recognize what matters to you and then come from those values. There's all kinds of information on the workshop out at the front desk, the info desk. It's a free workshop. It's after service. Please sign up. It's important. So now, on to the regular message. Dr. Edward is going to be ridiculously busy in the coming month. You may have noticed he's been on vacation. Well, he's trying to get his averages back up. So, Tuesday, October 8th at 6 p.m., he's offering a workshop called a new class actually, called Living the Serenity Prayer. There are 25 words in this prayer, and the class is going to examine the phrasing and why it can make a difference in your life. The class is both in person and on Zoom, so please consider looking at what's going to be happening in that and sign up by clicking on the photo of the boats on a serene lake. Then there's a class on October 19th. That one is Hail Mary, a metaphysical understanding, focusing on the Hail Mary prayer, which is one of the basics of the Catholic tradition, and our science of mind approach to it. One of the gifts of this teaching is that it's not exclusive. It doesn't say, we've got the only right way. It says there are threads of wisdom throughout, and in this teaching, we attempt to weave them together. And the next day, after he begins that class on Sunday the 20th, he's talking about karma and the science of mind. Karma, for me, is one of those terms that I've never entirely understood. And I'm hoping after this workshop, I might have a little clearer sense of what it is. So those are some of the things that Edward is up to, and I invite you to consider all of them as you look at your calendar for October. How many of you know that there's a special concert coming November 8th? Okay. We haven't seen Sophia and Atreyu for a while, but they're going to be offering their other side of music, not just the beautiful way they do New Thought, but rock and roll and covers and some of their own music with their incredible youthful enthusiasm and passion for music. It's also a fundraiser for our music department. So there are two really good reasons to attend. It's on November 8th in the evening. There'll be space to dance if you want to do that, and everyone is welcome. Bring your neighbors, bring your friends, bring your family, and let them see another side of the liveliness of this center. Then there's a final announcement. Elias Owens is a practitioner here at the center, and I've been in meditation circle with him now for several years, I think. And he is at heart a mystic. But you may have noticed he shows up day to day. He's not off in some retreat somewhere. So I'd like to invite him up to talk about his upcoming class, The Mystical Path.
Good morning. Mysticism is the direct, immediate experience of ultimate reality. So says Wayne Teasdale, the author of The Mystic Heart. Ernest Holmes says, a mystic is one who senses the divine presence. He also says that mysticism isn't mysterious. It is in fact practical and is available to all of us. We all have an inner mystic. So the mystical path is a way to develop and cultivate oneness consciousness and to experience that divine presence that is available to us all. It is a way to develop and understand all the qualities and capacities of the mystic nature. So if this calls to you, please join me beginning October 7th, Monday nights from 6 to 8 p.m. here at the center for the Mystical Path. And if you have any questions about it and want more information, I'll be out in the social hall after the service and would be glad to speak with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Elias. And now I want to remind you all that you're most welcome here. I'm delighted that you joined us. And please, as we begin our closing, remember to savor the coming week. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Tara. Thank you, Elias. So before we close out our service, I have one more final announcement. This is very important. We have a special Wednesday evening service that is coming up this Wednesday, October 2nd at 7 p.m. And it's special because we are not going to be having it here at our center. We are going to be having it at Congregation Shamrei Torah on the other side of town. And there's a reason that we're doing that. The reason we're doing that is because Shamrei Torah is going to be here, because next week High Holy Days begin and they will be having their Rosh Hashanah celebration, which means they take over our whole center. So if you are looking for Wednesday evening service, do not come to the center here. Go to Shamrei Torah, and we have the address on our website as well as a flyer at our info desk. It's going to be a wonderful service. It's the first service that Dr. Edward will be giving after he gets back from his big Europe vacation, so I'm sure he's going to have some fun stories to tell. So you won't want to miss it. It starts at 7 p.m. and it's at Shamrei Torah. All right. If you are having a challenging time, if you would like to have some help from one of our licensed prayer practitioners to find that peace within you, then I invite you to take advantage of our after-service prayer here in the sanctuary, also online if you're watching online. Our practitioners love to pray with you, and that's a great way to open the door to that peace that's already within you. So please take advantage of that. All right, I invite us all to stand as we are able and repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in my affairs. I think it, I feel it, and I accept it. Just the way that it is, and just the way that it is not. Thank you, life. Please know with me that you are never alone, that Spirit is right where you are, that you have only to look within at any moment to know that you're guided, sustained, and inspired by a presence that expresses itself as you in this world. In deepest gratitude, let us live our lives accordingly so that in everything that we do and say and think, we honor this peace within. And so it is. Enjoy the closing music and have a wonderful week.
3, 4. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God our Creator, we are family. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin